Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. I'm your host, folks. This daily podcast that you are receiving is the absolute 100% up-to-date, real-time facts that you are receiving as it pertains to every single country related to the RVGCR, whether it's Vietnam, whether it's Iraq, the whole entire global banking system, whereby assets such as gold, silver, other precious metals, commodities, everything will back our currencies, the new digital asset-based trading system, which is the actual technical term of the new banking system, all of the international agencies that are involved with all of these various countries, whether it's the IMF, World Bank, Bretton Woods, U.S. Treasury, it doesn't matter. All of them. Goldilocks is bringing you the actual facts. Then you bring it down to the next level of implementing and executing the knowledge and information that Goldilocks is sharing. The members of the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room are successfully establishing relationships with the actual exchange bankers and wealth managers, whereby in that room, the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room, where you have a library of information provided by Goldilocks, Wiley, myself, and the tribe, where over the last year, we were there 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. And many other bank stories that you are hearing from hundreds of people. All that information is in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room. You can click the link at the top of the description. You can join the room. Hit the search bar. You're there. You can go there to get the information. Folks, today, again, there is so much coming out on Vietnam. Goldilocks has a library of information, articles, updates on the RV. The RV as it pertains to different countries in different currencies. But there is so much coming out on Vietnam right now. Goldilocks is deciding to just let it go and let you have it and bring you the real-time facts. Let's jump right into what Goldilocks is sharing today. From Vietnam specifically. 80 years, Goldilocks is sharing. After the 1945 August Revolution, Vietnam, folks, is now indeed experiencing a significant surge in their economy. See, folks, there needs to be a justification for the value of a country's currency to move up. If a country is not only poor, but piss poor, where no investors want to even go in that country, there is no justification for the revaluation of their currency. There's no mechanism, no financial mechanism, no foundation or proof to justify. But there's many countries that we have currencies for that do. Vietnam, if you've been paying attention lately, you're seeing Vietnam absolutely. And on Saturday Night Dialogues call, we're going to go into more depth, even on what the International Monetary Fund just released on Vietnam. Right now, Vietnam, in the last 8 months of this year, has attracted over $26 billion in foreign direct investments. This is a 27.3% growth year on year, meaning the same time last year to now this year, Vietnam's economy has grew 27% more this year than last year at this same time. This growth is driven by strong momentum in manufacturing, strategic use of ready-built factories, and ongoing policy improvements, reforms for the economy that will affect the Dong, including efforts to enhance infrastructure and institutions. This sends a loud signal, a bullhorn around the world to let the world know you can welcome into Vietnam for your business. And as a result, folks, the Vietnamese dong, the demand goes up. So as the demand goes up, so does the value of the dong. There are key factors that contribute to the growth of Vietnam. Strong manufacturing, where 57% of total registered investment in the first half of 2025 for manufacturing has blown through the roof. 57% more than last year for manufacturing. Strategic use of ready-built factories. These are factories that major corporations are dumping into Vietnam for global use, for global manufacturing, and global distribution. Policy support and institutional improvements within Vietnam's government sector and private sector. Resilience amid global slowdown. Vietnam, while the globe is slowing down on some of its exports because of tariffs, Vietnam is picking up. The impact on these foreign direct investments is creating more economic sovereignty for Vietnam. Job creation and living standards are through the roof in Vietnam. Economic growth and global integration is happening right now in Vietnam. There are some challenges and there's some focus. Infrastructure development. Folks, right now, one of the major challenges for Vietnam is they're growing so fast they don't have enough people in their population to keep up with the growth. They are now offering various incentives for foreigners to come into Vietnam to become citizens because they don't have enough people to keep up with the growth. Their focus now is on the quality of their manufacturing. Vietnam's current strategy emphasizes attracting high quality foreign projects. Vietnam's rise as a leading foreign direct investment destination has increased their independence and sovereignty. Goldilocks has been sharing and showing that Vietnam is in the midst right now of being considered for stock market for an upgrade to an emerging market status from a frontier up to emerging market. This is a boom, a major boom. If they get this, the October the 7th next month, we will find out. But the finance minister of Vietnam, in a contingency, met with the London Stock Exchange on September the 15th and signed a memorandum of understanding. It's an agreement. But before I tell you about that, the finance minister in Vietnam, while meeting in London said, quote, he says, Vietnam has met the FTSE Russell's criteria for a stock market status upgrade through the reforms aimed at boosting foreign investment, according to his latest report. Speaking at a meeting with the London Stock Exchange on the 15th of September, he highlighted Vietnam's efforts to implement policies facilitating capital inflows. This is money inflows into Vietnam, folks. A government plan approved last weekend targets the upgrade of the FTSE Russell, requiring Vietnam to meet non-mandatory and two non-mandatory criteria. He is reporting they've met them. Now we just await for the FTSE Russell to confirm and officially, hopefully, to give Vietnam this status upgrade to emerging market status. He proposed, meaning the finance minister named Prime Minister Thang, yeah, it's spelled Thang. That's just his name. He proposed deeper cooperation with the London Stock Exchange, focusing on improving legal frameworks, market supervision, corporate governance, and transparency. Vietnam also seeks to develop new financial products like green bonds and leverage technology such as fintech and artificial intelligence. The CEO of the London Stock Exchange, Julie Hoggett, she expressed optimism about Vietnam's market potential and pledged full support for the upgrade, emphasizing collaboration between the FTSE Russell, Vietnam State Security Commission, and the Vietnam Stock Market Exchange. An MOU was signed, a memorandum of understanding between the Vietnamese Stock Exchange and the FTSE International Limit to enhance market infrastructure and global integration. Folks, Vietnam's waiting for the FTSE Russell to give them their update on if they're going to reclassify them to an emerging market next month. And the FTSE Russell signed an agreement with Vietnam, a memorandum of understanding, and their stock exchange on September the 15th in London. Just think about that. Are you connecting the dots? Vietnam's stock market capitalization reached $352 billion by August the 25th of this year. Folks, that is 79.5% above the GDP of Vietnam in all of last year, with trading values averaging 1.1 billion, making Vietnam one of the most active stock markets in the Asian region. Just so that you're aware, the FTSE Russell, which is a part of the London Stock Exchange, they manage over 95 asset managers. Folks, are you aware that asset managers are the private wealth management firms that our members are meeting with? 95 of the 100 top managers, wealth management firms, the London Stock Exchange manages them. And it equates to over $16 trillion in assets with over 47 countries. Have you established a relationship with any of these firms yet? If you have, which we know many of you have, congratulations. Congratulations. Feliz Navidad already. Vietnam is actively discussing and negotiating, Goldilocks is sharing, an international trade contract with the United States as of September. The discussions center on the finalizing of the bilateral trade agreement that was announced in July of this year by President Trump, aimed at addressing the U.S. tariffs on Vietnam and their exports and transshipments. You must understand, as of August the 7th, Vietnam's government stated that the talks would continue to implement toward finalizing the agreement with the United States, the tariff agreement, with details on product specific rules of origin and non tariff barriers. Folks, although it was announced by the president that this tariff agreement and trade agreement was finalized, it hasn't. They're still negotiating. That's a good thing. These negotiations are part of a broader U.S. reciprocal tariff policies under the Trump administration, with Vietnam becoming the third country after the UK and China to sign an agreement. Remember, the April leak of last year, currency revaluation, is likely to be a priority of the second Trump administration, large in part to the overvalued dollar and the trade deficit. So what did he do? Hit these countries with tariffs. Are you paying attention? Folks, international trade contracts do not automatically reset when a country receives an emerging marketing upgrade. So understand and know the reclassification of Vietnam to an emerging market status, if so approved next month, it's a signal of improved economic conditions, not a legal trigger for terminating existing contracts. But an upgrade can, however, significantly alter the business environment, which leads companies to renegotiate or reconsider their contracts at an ongoing basis. Folks, what are in contracts? Numbers. What are a part of these contracts and numbers and negotiations? Currency, values between countries. Folks, you must understand, you do not want to miss the opportunity to be ahead of the game and be prepared for your exchange and your wealth that you're about to come into, with the notion that it is best for you to wait on the dock of the bay, wasting time. So you look at this investment as a blessing from the Almighty God. However, faith without works is dead. For those that have established relationships, that's work. You put in the work, you made the phone calls, the follow up. You met with your wealth advisors, established those relationships, signed contracts and agreements. Some have signed contracts for their exchange because they put in the work. They follow the 8 steps and the guidance that we gave them in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room. They had faith just like many of you. What kind of faith did you have to just sit back and wait for what you've been told was going to be a notification? Just imagine, for those that didn't wait, they're ahead of you. I know this is sensitive and it strikes a chord with many of you because it's contrary to popular belief, contrary to popular jargon, popular belief compared to all of what you consistently have heard weekend after weekend, especially 3-day weekend after 3-day weekend. Aren't you tired of those weekends going and coming and you keep hearing the same? Aren't you tired of the anxiety? See, there's a fine line between faith and foolishness. I'm going to repeat that again. There's a fine line between faith and foolishness. Aren't you tired of being fooled? See, folks, aren't you at the point of understanding when you've been fooled? But I'm going to leave you with this, and I share this with the utmost love, and I don't care who gets offended. The message isn't for you if you get offended. This message is for someone who they're at their wits' end and they're tired of being tired of the anxiety and foolishness. And they want to make a change now before these rates begin to go up. I'm going to end you with this. It's easier to fool people than to convince them they have been fooled. Look in the mirror if you so choose. We love you, folks. Be well.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.